How's it going, guys? John from Discover RC, never stop the RC. Thanks for joining me. Today I have the ZOHD Dart forward sweep mini FPV wing. This is from Banggood, and I'll put a link in the description. We'll go over the specs, we'll talk about the wing, and then we'll do some FPV flying, and I'll also show you guys some hand launches. But before we get to that, let me talk about the shipping report, because I know you guys love the shipping report. This thing took about 10 days to get to me in California. That's what Banggood estimates. And everything came nicely intact. The box was ensconced in a very nice, stretchy plastic covering. And there were some nice thin foam pieces around the box. The box just had some light creases in it, but otherwise was completely intact. And ZOHD, you know, I'm just gonna start calling it ZOHD. I keep saying ZOHD, it's kind of a lot to say. It looks like it's pronounced ZOHD. I'm just gonna say ZOHD, like General ZOHD. You know, that guy was pretty cool. If he had an FPV wing, he'd probably paint it all black, murder it out. But it's exactly the kind of thing that General ZOHD would fly. So I'm just gonna call it ZOHD from now on, if that's okay. But ZOHD packs their stuff pretty nicely. It's all loose in the box, but everything was wrapped in bubble wrap, so no pieces were damaged. It's always really nice to take something out of a box that is completely undamaged, in good condition, and just looks good. And that was the case with this little wing. There's one thing I really like about this wing, and that is it goes together with no screws, no glue. It's all held together with magnets. The vertical stabilizers just pop in like this. The wings have a magnet that joins them in the middle. You put the spar in, pop the wings on. The servo leads have little fixed connectors, so they just pop right in place. So you can put this thing together in about a minute. And you can also take it completely apart in about a minute and use the box to transport it. And I definitely recommend keeping the box, because this makes a nice little portable FPV wing that you can put together and take apart real quick. You do have to take the prop off to fit it back into the box, but other than that, it takes about a minute to take it apart and put it together. Now, this is a plug-and-play model, so it comes with the motor, the ESC, a stabilization board, and the 4-gram servos. You do have to supply your receiver, your radio, your battery, and your FPV unit. For this one, I'm going to be using the little Cricket Cam FPV unit, powers off a single-cell LiPo. Let me give you guys a quick look at the battery compartment so you can see inside. We'll go over this in a second, but there you can see the stabilization board, and I have the Spectrum receiver sitting right behind it, and you have plenty of room right here for FPV gear and your battery. It comes with a 2400 kV motor and a 6-inch prop. The 1300 milliamp pack sits right there in the front, just barely fits like that. There are some CG markers on the underside of the wing, and it's perfectly balanced with it right there. Flies well and balances right on the spot they indicate. I'm not going to say too much about the setup, but I want to make a few quick points about it and what I ran into. First of all, there's a small sheet that comes in the box, and it gives you the instructions. It's important because it does show you where all those wires from the stabilization board plug into your receiver. The aileron is a standard 3-wire plug that powers your receiver, and then you have the other signal wires. Now, that green wire right there is connected to the gear channel, and that allows you to switch between stabilized and unstabilized mode. So just make sure you keep that sheet to set up your receiver correctly. When you clear a new model and set it up in the radio, leave it as a normal aileron wing. Don't change it, because that stabilization board is going to do that elevon mixing for you. So leave it as a normal aileron wing. If you do change your radio to an elevon wing, you're going to see some weird stuff. It's not going to seem right, and that's because you already have that mixing set up with that stabilization board. So leave it as a normal aileron wing, and it's going to work properly. After you get the airplane bound, you do need to calibrate the throttle. And if you don't do that, that stabilization board is going to do all sorts of weird flashing. You're not going to have any throttle, and you'll know that something's not quite right. So what you do is unplug the model, turn on your transmitter, put the throttle in the high position, plug in the model, you hear a couple beeps, lower the throttle to the low position, a couple more beeps, and then it should be calibrated and you'll have throttle and everything will be ready to go. The elevons have differential built into them. So what that means is, if say you're going to turn the aircraft to the right and you move the stick to the right, your right elevon is going to move up higher than your left elevon is going to move down. And what that does is it helps with adverse yaw, so it keeps the airplane tracking straight through the turn with the nose pointed in the right direction. And that's a good thing. So that's normal. The stabilization board is doing that. And don't worry about it if you notice that. It should be doing that. And by the way, of course, there's no rudder on this aircraft. So the advantage of a forward swept wing like this, besides looking kind of cool, is the stall becomes a root stall over here rather than a stall out at the tip. And that makes it a stable stall. It's easier to control. You have more aileron control in the stall, so it helps with that. If you're just going to rip around the sky, the disadvantage is it creates some problems with the yaw, but stalls are gentler with the forward swept wing. The blue light means you're in stabilized mode. The red light means you're in normal mode or acro mode. All right, guys, time to start some RC here. We've got the little Velcro strip under there for the single cell battery. Battery's installed there, so let's do some FPV. The wind has just picked up, so this is gonna be bumpy. I'm gonna do a sidearm launch, with it in stabilized mode. Once it gets up there, I'll put the goggles down, we'll go into acro mode and fly around. But this thing's gonna get knocked around because the wind has just really come up, but you'll get an idea of what it's like in the wind, I guess. So anyway, I'm gonna do it. Yeah, it is windy. So you can just see it bumping around like that. So I'm facing the wind right now. I can slow it down. And Cricket Cam's gonna be pushed to its limits here. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, it's just so windy that it's hard to like really get a good idea of this thing. But it's fast. And one thing I like about it, it's pretty quiet for a wing like this. Full throttle here. I mean, it gets up there quick. But I'm getting knocked all over the place. Full throttle again, into the wind. Back off. I mean, it's a fun little wing. It's a good portable wing if you want something fun to fly around with. Transport in your suitcase or in the little box. But on a real windy day, let's go stabilized here for a second. See if that helps. I usually don't fly much in stabilized mode. It's not too exciting, but it's smoothing it out a little. And back into acro here. I can't go as low as I want because of that wind. But hopefully just give you guys an idea of how this thing flies. And you can see the roll rate is quick. I've got the timer on 3 minutes. I'm not going for a long flight. Pushing against that wind again. Whoa. Yeah, it's gusting. Well, I know which way to land. Yeah, I think on a day without wind, this will be a lot more fun. So we'll wait for that. I'm gonna bring it in. And there we are. All right guys, I'm sorry, it's so windy, it's just getting knocked all over the place. I can't fly it as low as I want because I'm gonna plant it. But, you know, it's fun, it's fast, it's not particularly loud. On the 3 cells it does well. So I mean, I think it's a decent little wing for a plug and play. So you do need your own FPV, your own battery, your own transmitter, your own receiver, all that stuff. But for what you get for the money, I think it's actually pretty decent. Fun little wing, breaks down to a small package. Anyway guys, that's it. That's the Dart from ZOHD or ZOHD. Banggood, link in the description. I'll see you guys next time. You guys see the wing?